But you talk about Tulsa. Tulsa was not the original first Wall Street in America. And it was really Tulsa then. It was really Greenwood, right? That adjoins and abuts Wall Street. I mean, Tulsa. The real Wall Street was down in North Carolina. That was down in Durham, North Carolina. See, blacks in Durham, North Carolina was more advanced than any blacks in the country. I mean, any blacks that got more than a third grade education say, well, how would Tulsa jump that far ahead and become so sophisticated economically way out in the damn wilderness, way out in Oklahoma, some damn place, in Kansas and all that? How'd they get so advanced? Because the real Wall Street was in Durham, North Carolina, and that one got wiped out. And they are the ones that had started all the insurance companies, and they had the banking systems down there, and they had their own bus lines and cab companies. And North Carolina was very sophisticated. That's where that came from. And so, but whites have always destroyed anything that would put black folk in a position to be competitive with them. That is the nature of that's the nature of racism. I've told blacks all of my life now, since I was 21 years of age, what racism was. They still want to try to define racism by how white folks define racism. What did whites say? Racism is whether or not you like somebody or you're mean to them, and that's what racism is. That's a lie. Racism is an economic issue. It's a group-based economic issue where groups are competing to own and control resources, wealth, and power. That's what racism is. That came up in 1859 on the eve of the Civil War. And a few blacks have been profiting like Durham, and they said, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of Tulsa. And they went out and killed about 600 people in Tulsa and burned the whole damn city down. But it was not only the broad society, but also the little air aviation out there, almost like a National Guard. They also they dropped the bombs on the houses and burnt down the churches and buildings and everything. They did that there, but that's not the only place. They also burned down Wilmington, North Carolina, where blacks were doing extremely well up in Wilmington, North Carolina. They burned out Wilmington. And then after they got to burn out Wilmington, then they went over and burned out a couple of places in Nashville where black folk had big, broad communities, doing extremely well, and had their own businesses and their own communities. And why do I say communities? Because you see, whites have never wanted black folk to have communities. What they wanted to do was be isolated and be disorganized so they can come in, and whites can come in anytime they want them. It started off originally way back in colonial days. They were called Maroon towns. And black folk would get away from white folk, go way out in the woods, way up in the mountains, any place, and build their own little communities and maroon towns. And whites would always go out for maroon hunting, once or twice a year. They go out there looking for them and try to find where they are in the hills. And as soon as they find them, you know what they would do? They would kill them and burn them out. That was true all through history, whites. And so to make a long story short in that regard, this is very important for you to understand, particularly with the Congress, is that up until let me get the right date for you, until about 1940, up to about 1948, the late 1940s, that out of all the riots in America, of all the burnings and destruction of cities in America, black folk had never burned down a city or a town, never burned down a white neighborhood, never burned down a white community, have never. Only person been doing that is whites. Whites have been burning down towns now ever since the founding of slavery. And black folk don't know that. They let every time there's a disorder in a city, they say, all you black folk like to do is just burn down things at whites' home. Yes, because that's what you've been doing. They learned it from you. And there's never been one damn place in this nation where black folk have initiated and conducted a riot or a major disorder and burned down a town. But as I said, I just named a few: Durham, Wilmington, Greenwood, and then in Nashville. Then they went also about 1921s, in the early 1920s, they went to New York and burned down a whole big neighborhoods in New York and hung black folk from the telephone post. They killed off about 400 or 500 blacks up there. Then they did the same thing in Chicago. And then after they went that, by 1923, they went down to Rosewood. Rosewood was down south of Florida, South Florida. They went down there because a white woman again claimed that she had been raped by a black man. And they went down there, the whites stormed down there because they knew black folk were disarmed, because they're always telling black folk, y'all shouldn't have any weapons. That's what the black codes were about, and segregation. Saying the only thing black folk could have was a rifle for hunting. They could not carry pistols and other weapons. And so they went down to Rosewood and they hung about 200 blacks down in the Rosewood and killed them off and ran most of them into the swamps. Then they finally chased them out and killed all those, and about a few survived that for Rosewood. But black folk now have been running from white folks, and white folks have been raiding, burning down black towns and black communities way beyond Tulsa. Tulsa was just one. So if you're going to start talking about reparations, don't start telling me about reparations for Tulsa. What are you talking about? Some form of symbolism. Well, we're going to go out and make it symbolic. We'll go out and have a march. We'll have a demonstration. We'll have a parade. We'll have bands playing. And by now it's too late. You know why? Because in Tulsa right now, or Greenwood, probably most of the damn land and buildings now belong to whites. What are you going to do then? Go and put a bunch of money to further enrich them? That's ain't going to help black folk. I don't ever see anybody saying this program is strictly and solely for black people to take up for all the wealth and all the pain, all the suffering, or for lack of fact that we gave out over 2 billion acres of free land to European whites who were coming to this country to freeload. They came here specifically to get enrichment. And we gave them 2 billion acres of free land, but we would not give blacks 40 acres and a mule. And so now, but anytime there's a race riot or disturbance, they burn out something, they'll bring in whites. That's why Trump passed what's called an Opportunity Act right now up in New York, to what used to be Old Harlem. So now Old Harlem, it used to be all black in New York. That's being gentrified with Asians, Arabs, and Hispanics, and whites taking it over. Blacks don't own a damn thing more than about 1/2 or 1% in the entire country. And all they go for is symbolism and ceremonies, where somebody always wants them to get out and march and walk. And I'm sick and tired of seeing black folk think that somehow that's being good. That shows that we are kind people, that we are compassionate people, that we are acquiescing people, that we are friendly to other groups coming into the country. Other groups see black folk as being stupid. That you're the only people that won't compete. You don't demand a damn thing. Every time you put people in power or in a position of authorship, you never ask for a damn thing.